Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Is this my fault?
Potentially.
Oh, this is good.
Are we ready?
Are you ready?
I've done like 10 of them. You've rejected them all.
That's because like other people were talking.
Oh.
Wait. Go. Oh, sorry.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the Palm Valley Church Podcast, where we invite God into everyday conversations. My name is Mark Grohocky, and today we have the one and only Gerrod Martinez with us today for an absolutely amazing conversation. No, I mean, it seems like, you've found these things that you're passionate about. Like, I mean, we had talked a little bit before on you design stuff. You like set design and...
Yeah. And that goes a little bit with just kind of the experience that I've had here at Palm Valley, just being able to have a few different roles over the course of my time here on staff, but then also serving beforehand. Like, I truly love to just serve. And I love seeing when volunteers and other people also have that heart to just serve and be committed every weekend to come to church and do what might feel like a big overwhelming task or something that might seem on a smaller scale, but it's just as important with everything else that we do.
But you find them almost become more connected if they're doing something that they're really kind of wired and created to do.
Yeah. And sometimes the people's shape will come more like just kind of more naturally to them. And they'll really understand their shape. And there's people that kind of are finding their shape over a period of time and trying out different things, serving in different areas, all within the church, just seeing where they can thrive in their place of service. So
I like how you say people have to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, too often, it seems like our entire life is a pursuit of what am I supposed to be doing? Just everywhere. And the only way we find out some of those things is to jump in.
Yeah. I have a volunteer right now that that is serving faithfully, like one of my most committed volunteers. But they know that they have a heart for special needs and our buddy ministry. And right now at our Buckeye campus, we don't really have too many buddies. And so the need right now isn't there. But we know, and we've talked about like that being something that he's just passionate about and something that he's gifted in. And so when that opportunity comes, we're going to be looking at how can we kind of transition from where you're serving now into where you're fit to serve.
All right. So what else have you learned in ministry? This is good stuff.
We're all broken people following a perfect Savior. So there's so many times where there's just something just not clicking in people. And it might be people that I've been serving alongside. I've had the privilege of leading a number of just volunteer teams at different campuses. And that's a whole nother story as well, because there's been just a lot that has happened. And there's some times where I'll see people and maybe the reaction wasn't what I was expecting or really what was necessary. And so I found that having conversations with people, and even people having conversations with me, there's always more to the problem than just what you see on the surface. And it comes down to we're broken. We need healing. We need God. And so knowing that and having that approach whenever we are just working with people, we're like, serving alongside people, just doing life side by side with people, knowing that there's always a story and probably just some brokenness and amazing wins and miracles in people's life. That's just been something that's been huge that I've just kind of picked up over time in ministry, and it's allowed me to have grace with people and
And it's okay to be broken. Like you're not disqualified for ministry or for this life of relationships, even though you have brokenness in your life. I like that. All right. Good. What else?
Man, we talked about this a little earlier in podcast rehearsal number 1. But authentic relationships are so important. Kind of going back up to the shape acrostic. The first one's spiritual gifts. I know one of my spiritual gifts is shepherding. We even had a conversation earlier this year, and I was just curious about how you one, disciple people, but then also how counseling plays a part in that. And I've always been really interested in it. I'm not as knowledgeable as you when it comes to that.
You probably are.
So that's why eventually one day someone's got to interview you so we can hear about all of your fun counseling experiences and stories. But the authentic relationship portion is so important in ministry because you can have accountability through that, just awesome friendships and relationships through that. And a lot of what I've learned has been leading volunteers and leading teams. But I also think that this can be applied to anyone that comes into serving, because someone that may not have very many relationships or may not even know what an authentic relationship looks like, can come into serving in a team and pretty quickly build some relationships and get to know some people, and then really just start to do life with people. And whether that's just like, texting back and forth as you get to know people, or if you're in a small group, but it's so important to have.
Authentic relationships, they're so unbelievably valuable and necessary, and yet they're also very scary. Because a true authentic relationship really looks at someone knowing kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly about you.
Absolutely.
And we don't always want to share those things. And so they're scary, and yet you're right, they are so valuable.
And if you ask any of like my close friends, you'll know that like if they're like, what is something about Gerrod? Like they'll probably say that like, oh, you always ask questions. But that's always just like, oh, if we're hanging out one by one, just like getting food or something like that. Because I'm always wanting to know a little bit more. And I think I enjoy going deeper with few than staying shallow with a large number of people. So.
I love it. All right, that was 3.
That was 3. Yep.
We have 5 total things that you've learned.
5.
Okay.
Just 5 that I listed down, but I've learned more. Than that,
These are like a big 5, though.
Okay. Just things that that I've learned over. Okay. Anyway, this is a good one. Because it applies more to me, but then also can apply to a lot of people. I've seen things grow more when I let go of control. Pastor Fernando actually talked a little bit about this on one of our podcasts a while back, just about the kind of the growth versus control aspect. And I'm the type of person, I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to things. And I love that we can value excellence here at Palm Valley, because I'll look at someone and be like, oh no, that's not excellent. And then we'll, the kind of the perfectionist in me kind of comes out. But early on in serving and being able to kind of step into just like volunteer leadership roles, and then even on staff, I've learned that about myself. I'm kind of like, I like to do things my way. I want to see it done this way, especially if I have the ability to have control over that. But I would say within the past year, one of the things I've always heard about, just like good leaders, they lead and they delegate. And I kind of just said, okay, I needed to do that just because the scope of just what God is calling us to do here is bigger than just what I can do with my 2 hands. And so a big thing has just been letting go of the things that it's like, oh, I want to do this, or only I can do this and make it the way I want to. And there's still some things where, I'll see it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll fix that and whatnot. But being able to let go of that, and even at the expense of things not being as picture perfect or as nice or as neatly wrapped. And, sometimes there's little hiccups or technical difficulties or mistakes that happen within our service. It has allowed other people that are serving, to grow more in just what they're doing as volunteers, or as even, us as staff. And so that's been something that's been huge, especially over this past season of time, because God has something big for us. And so we're just in the work right now doing what we can do. But
Well, and
We
I
wanna
think
just kinda,
that may be one of the most important things that anyone can take away with anything in life is that growth versus control idea of if we're not allowing others to have a chance at doing things and what God has gifted them, or we're not allowing other people to fail, we're taking away growth opportunities, like you said, from other people at the extent of or expense of us thinking we're the only ones that can do something.
Absolutely.
So I love that. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I struggle with the most because I'm with you.
Yeah.
I
I still struggle with it all the time.
the thing I took away from my dad, he had this phrase all the time. So if you want something done right, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's just that phrase that's always there that I have to wrestle with all the time.
Yeah.
So.
I remember growing up as a kid, my parents and my dad, like whenever we had chores or something like that, he would always make me do something. And for example, one of the things was vacuuming the stairs, and I hated vacuuming the stairs. I always hated, and I did it like as a little kid and stuff like that. And even to this day, I hate vacuuming the stairs. So to my beautiful wife, Marissa, I'm sorry that the stairs are not as vacuumed as probably what they should be. But I always remember doing that kind of stuff, and then like my dad coming back and doing it right after me over. And I was like, why are you going to ask me to do it if you're just going to come do it again? But like that kind of thing is part of just like the control. Not like my dad was a bad person or anything like that, but I find myself doing that as well, where it's like, oh, I may ask someone to do something, or I may see something done, I'll just go back over and do it. Yeah. I know our producer Austin probably has experienced that one or two times when we're at setup and tear down and stuff. But so yeah,
nice. All right. Yeah. So we have one more.
One more.
Okay.
Just the final thing.
The most important, or still just one of the five?
I'll let you be the judge of that.
All right.
So, you have to learn to be open to God's calling, and all of His callings that He made, that He has for us. There's been a lot of things that have happened in the past 5 to 10 years. I've been at Palm Valley now for actually I don't know how many years, but we started coming to 2005, and cut pretty early on. I was serving, and little things here and there God would call me to do. Go on a mission trip, start serving here, get involved here, join a small group, lead a small group. And a lot of times, a lot of those callings have been pretty clear. They were never like audible voices that I heard or that we hear. But it was just an opportunity that came up. Like, hey, there's a need for a small group on a Friday night.
Right. You
have a group of friends. Like, why don't you open up your home and do small group? And being obedient to those callings have been some of the most rewarding things, and also some of the most challenging things. Like, I think about the times where God has called me to go on the Go Mission trip, and I'm super excited for the high schoolers that are going out in a couple of weeks. The Go Mission trip always has a special place in my heart, because that's where my life was changed in high school. But then also with when we launched new campuses, being called to be a part of the team, whether that was in just a staff role or just going out and supporting, just volunteering our time. God is going to give us options to walk through these doors, and there's also going to be things that He's calling us specifically to do. There's been many times where Marissa and I have known very clearly what exactly God is calling us to do. Like, you're going to do this. So when they ask you, say yes. And it's literally within, weeks, we're sitting in a meeting, and, this option may be proposed on the table, and it's like, oh man, okay, yes, God, like, you've been working in this in our hearts. We're going to do this. And there's also been times where, we've been called to kind of do different things, and it hasn't really been as clear, but we've just been obedient to the doors God has given us to walk through. And we just hope that we can continue to make, and I hope that I can continue to make good decisions in that, following.
Has there been times for you where you felt like there was an open door in something, but for whatever reason you didn't step into it, and you saw later, weeks, months, years down the line, going, you know what? I think that was something that God was asking me to do, and I didn't do that. Have you seen that play out in your life?
Yes. There's been times where I've seen kind of an opportunity come to the forefront, but then just because of my selfishness or just my lack of just a wider scope of vision. I've kind of said like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because I don't have the time for that, or I don't want to do that, or it's going to take up too much time. And God gives us the freedom to make these decisions, and so in times of kind of saying no to maybe those opportunities, you do see in the end, like either it just doesn't work out, or someone else kind of fills that opportunity, that need, and then sometimes you kind of wrestle a little bit of if you made the right decision, but we're still just trying to focus on what God has for us.
I love how you had said it. If there are times that you haven't stepped in the door, it's been almost for selfish reasons. Because I know for myself that's exactly what it is. That there's been times I know throughout my entire life God has asked something of me, and I've had a list of excuses as to why I can't do this right now. It's going to take too much time. Family won't go along with it, or whatever else it may be. And at the end of the day, it was just an excuse, and I walked away not being fulfilled. I walked away not living out, like you talked about earlier, the shape that God has created me for, and it changed everything for me.
And we're blessed to be in the position that we're in right now, being able to just do what we love. Like I love what I do for Palm Valley Church. I get to do it for a living. And I get to hang out with you awesome people. And I also know that there's a lot of people that are just faithfully serving that want those opportunities in ministry. And my encouragement to them is continue doing what you're doing, continue being faithful, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come next week, next year, in 10 years. But God is still going to honor just your faithfulness. And I love like those people and those volunteers because they're willing to do whatever it takes. And I love seeing when just the right opportunity comes that God has been crafting for them some type of role in ministry where maybe they could get paid to do it. And especially people that like leave their careers where they're making good money, comfortable, and they come into ministry. I admire those people because, I'm sure there's a lot of sacrifice that they do make for their families, but God has something so much bigger and so much more rewarding and fulfilling for those when we're just obedient to his calling.
Faithful, I think, is that perfect word to describe everything you're saying. I love that idea because you're exactly right. While we are faithful, God is forming us and shaping us, preparing us, getting us ready for that place that he is about to call us into. And being faithful is really kind of the education and the journey and the preparation for it. And the minute that we're either not faithful, or we say, it should be right now, or we think, no, it should be this specific job or this specific role, when we have stopped that faithful process, we've stopped being really who God has created us to be. He's created us to be faithful, to follow him faithfully in absolutely everything that we do. So that's a great way to put it. That's why you're so wise, Gerrod.
Oh, stop it.
I know.
Stop it. I'm just still learning. So.
You're still faithful in your journey. I like
that.
Oh, okay. Yes. So like 10 years from now, what's life going to look like for you? If you've taken away these 5 things, what do you think?
10 years from now, I hope to be serving alongside people in church. I love like production. That's what I do. So, but then also like music and worship leading. And so if I get to be able to do that in 10 years, I think that's an incredible win.
Oh, it's fantastic. So, well, thanks for sharing those. I mean, these are like personal to you. So you've opened up your heart to us here today. So thanks, man. We appreciate that. Definitely.
A lot has happened within the past couple of years. And I think this is only the beginning.
Oh, well, that's great. So thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
I hope your Memorial Day is absolutely amazing.
Me too.
Do you have like Memorial Day traditions? Is it like hamburgers and hot dogs and fireworks, or?
Yeah, I'm a griller. I like to hang out and grill some burgers and hot dogs. So you know what? I'm gonna do that just for you.
Okay. All right. No fireworks though.
If someone else buys them, I don't want to spend my money on it. So
I like that. Well, Gerrod, thanks for joining us today. And
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet, man. We look forward to the next time that you can be on. And we appreciate everyone else also joining us. So have a great week, everyone.